Play games, yes, all that stuff. You get to see what each other's doing instantly, right? Like you can check someone's story, you can check in on their things. Boys. Thank you. Ladies. Shh. Put that down. On the floor. All right. You can get news whenever you want. Back when you can like look at your feed or whatever you're watching, and whatever news you want will come right on up. So when I was younger, we didn't have any of that. It was you had to wait until Saturday to watch your favorite cartoon. You had to wait till the newspaper came out the next day to get your information, or wait till the nightly news or something like that, like whatever happened before. Yeah, I didn't know anybody was doing this. I called them or shot them, paged them. Y'all don't know that. I couldn't even watch movies. You know, I used to have to watch movies on a thing called a VHS. I know. Right? And the worst part was, if someone didn't rewind it for you, you had to rewind it before you could watch it. It was like, it was a button that just rewind the whole thing. It was horrible. It was the worst thing. I mean, it took a couple of minutes, but I was ready to watch something. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to watch He-Man or something. And I had to rewind it. So you guys got DVDs, well now you got streaming and all that kind of stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. So that's my old man rant of the day. But this is, but you guys are not paying attention today. Kill me. So tonight I'm going to share with you why it's important to find solitude and how to work on the discipline of solitude. All right, we're going to do those two things. So why it's important to find solitude and how to work on the discipline of solitude. All right, so we're going to start with prayer, and then we'll get this thing going. Father, thank you for tonight. Thank you for allowing us to gather. Tonight, Lord, my prayer is that we can learn something from what you're trying to teach us with this, especially with solitude, because it's a great tool to be able to connect with you and learn from you. And I think we all have an issue with that, myself included, with the way things are now, and how you can just get to any kind of information, news, media, TV, whatever, music. So yeah, I just pray that you will help us kind of see through that, Lord. I pray that tonight you utilize me or use me in any way, shape, or form that you see fit. If this is not what you want taught, Lord, throw it out the window and just guide me in whatever way you decide. Ask that you fill us with the Spirit, Lord, and help us stay focused and hear what you have to teach us. We love you, Father, very much. We say these things in your Son's name. Amen. All right. So let me start with the importance of solitude. Now, anybody here know who Superman is? Raise your hand.
That's my dad.
No, that's my grandpa.
All right. So, if you know a little bit about Superman, Superman had a fortress of solitude. Right? So he had this place in like Antarctica or something, I don't remember what it was. And he would fly there to kind of get rejuvenated. Kate, I'm going to move you. You would have to fly, he would fly there, he would, get new information. Like the new Supermans, he would slid in another icicle thing and it told him who he was and all that kind of stuff, right? He would go there to kind of recharge. He was charged by the sun, but he would also go there to kind of become stronger, learn more about himself. He would also go there for rest. Like in the comic books, back in the day, he would go there. He had a dog named Crypto, and he would hang out with the dog, throw him something a mile away, and the dog would fetch it because he was super tuned, had a cape, little cape. Or fly to it, grab it, fly back. Just saying, that's what it was. Now,
Why don't they just call him Krypton?
Jesus did and told us the same things. And let me share with you how. Matthew 6:6. Matthew 6:6. So Jesus here is teaching some stuff, right? He's been teaching a lot of people like how to pray, how to do these certain things. And so in Matthew 6:6 he says this. But when you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you. Now, what he's saying is he's not talking about like you shouldn't ever pray out loud or with other people. That's not what he's saying. But in this, he's saying that when you pray, there's times where you need to go pray and be with God. Right? It's not just the prayer out at the table with everybody or praying over your food or how we just prayed out loud, together as a group. It's not just those prayers. Those prayers are a thing, but it's not the only way to pray. he's also, what he's saying here is there's time where you need to be with your Father so you can hear, right, what God has for you as you pray through things. Okay, that's one of the things that he's trying to share there. Luke 5:15 through 16. All right, Luke 5:15 through 16. Now, Jesus has been performing a ton of miracles. He's kind of just walking through areas. People are just touching him and they're being healed. So he's doing crazy, amazing miracle ministry stuff. And this is what he says. But now even more, the report of him, about him went abroad, and great crowds gathered to hear him and to be healed by their infirmities. But he would withdraw to desolate places and pray. So he is going through, now of all the people that don't need this, Jesus is one of them because he's already connected with the Father. So what he's doing here is showing us that as you're doing things, you still need to get time with God. So that's what Jesus was doing. He was trying to get back in line to what he was doing because he was doing all these things. He's still going to get tired. He's still going to get a little worn down. So he separated himself from the crowds and went in his own and got time with God. My last scripture. Mark 6:31. This is right before they feed the 5,000. Right? This is where right before God feeds the 5,000. The apostles were coming to tell Jesus all the crazy, awesome miracles they had done in his name because he sent them out. Right? So it says this. And he said to them, "Come away," this is Jesus, "come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while. For many were coming and going, and they had no leisure even to eat." So he's telling his disciples after they just busted their butts, doing their thing, just preaching and teaching, healing and all that kind of stuff. They come back, they're super juiced and telling Jesus, "Yo, check it out, Jesus, we're doing this, we're doing that." And he's like, "Man, I'm so proud of you guys. You guys are killing the game. Good job. Hey, you know what? You guys are working hard. Let's take some time and hang out over here where no one's at. So you can recharge and you can," because Jesus knows what's going to happen next about the 5,000. He knows that there's this big feast that he's going to provide for a bunch of people, and so he wants his disciples, his apostles, to rest before they go out and do all this. So there's a guy, I think his name is Franklin McCovey, or there's two guys and their last names are Franklin and McCovey. I can't remember. Anyways, there was this book that the guy wrote. No, his name was Covey, not McCovey. That was a baseball player. Anyways, Covey, he wrote this book, and it was called Sharpening the Saw. Now, this is not politically correct right now, but as far as environments, but I'm just going to give you the example. So what he was saying is that a lumberjack would go out, right, and they would cut down trees. Now, this is before they had saws. They had those big things that they would push back and forth with each other on each side, right? And they're cutting down trees. Now, they're cutting like 5 to 10 trees down. They're doing it by hand. And what he would say is you had to sharpen your saw in order to cut more trees down. But some guys would just be like, "No, we got to power through this," right? So they're cutting through these trees, and about 5 deep, their saw starts to get dull. And so they're trying really hard to saw this tree down. It's taking them longer to cut down trees because the saw is kind of dull. So what Covey was saying is that if they just took a second, maybe, half hour, took the break, sharpened their saw, they'd be able to cut more trees down. Okay? They'd be able to go back and do more work and be more productive and not burn themselves out. That's what Jesus is doing here. He's saying, hey, go back, sharpen your saw, right? Go back and get time with the Lord, get your rest, get your solitude with him. He's going to give you a direction. He's going to talk to you. But if you're so busy and you can't stay focused, he's not going to do that. So what is God saying? God's telling us to spend quiet quality time with him. Now, I suck at this so bad. I'm going to give you an example. Today, I got in my car. Actually, I got my wife's car because my Jeep's broken right now. But at least she got a dope truck and she lets me use it. So I get into the truck and I'm getting ready to go. And I usually try to use the time that I have from my house to the church. I try to use that time to kind of pray, get my day going, kind of talk with God and all that kind of stuff. So as I get in the car, my phone is Bluetooth to the radio. And I got this playlist that I've just been jamming the last couple weeks and I'm feeling it. And so I wasn't even thinking, get in the car and all of a sudden, boom, it starts playing. I'm like, yeah, feeling myself, singing it, all that kind of stuff, right? And then I'm like, oh, dude, what are you doing, man? This is not the time for that. Like, you could do that on other times. This is the time you dedicate it to God. that you would, oh, every time you start the day, this is the best way to start it. And you've got this perfect amount of time to do that. So, I'm like, oh. So I pause it. All right, good job. Pat myself on the back. So then I start to pray, right? Shut it down, I start to pray. Usually my prayers sound a little bit like this, right? I pray that that I can do His will in my day. I pray that I can accomplish what He wants me to. I pray that some of the stuff I want to accomplish is on His list so I can get it done too. And I also ask Him to tell me what to do. Like, tell me what I should do. Help me figure out certain problems. I ask Him to just kind of open things up for me, either in my mind. Excuse me, I talk about it. Open up my mind, give me a good word, encourage me in this, whatever. So after I do that prayer, guess what I did? I hit music again. And I started blasting my music. So I did all that, right? It takes me about 10 minutes to get here. So it took me a minute to get that going, shut it off. Did my prayer for about 7 to 8 minutes. And I had a minute left. I turned on my music, and about 30 seconds into it, I was like, what the heck are you doing, man? Like, you're teaching on this today. Like, you're about to have a conversation about this today, and you can't even stay focused. So I'm just telling you in confession, I'm horrible at it. I'm just as bad, okay? I'm the worst. Now here's why I share this with you. We can't hear God if we don't clear for God. Come on. Okay, we can't hear God if we don't clear for God, right? We can't hear what He's saying if we busy ourselves with noise, right? With music, with our games, with our movies, with our shows. We don't leave space for God to talk to us, right? Think of it this way. If you're talking to a friend and you're like, yo, Sherry, what's up, girl? How you been? Everything good? Man, it's been really cool seeing you, man. I really miss you. How things going? And then I put my earpods in. And I walk away. Or I just put my earpods in and I look at her and I'm like, oh. Do you do that? Like, is that a conversation? Okay, I'll do it differently. And if you do, you're a horrible friend. Here's the other thing. Right? You don't go, hey, you know what? I've been struggling. You know, I've been struggling with fat. I'm having a hard time with this. Man, I could use some input. I could use some wisdom, man. You got anything for me? And then I go like this. Hold up, man. This is the best part of my movie.
Default name?
Hold on. This is my favorite part.
My bad on that. Game of Thrones.
Right? You don't do that in conversations. You don't go to watch your movie or your show. You know what the worst part about that? You can pause this. You can pause this all day. Right? Your YouTube, whatever you're watching, your Instagram, your Snapchat, your Netflix, it's got a pause button. And you can pause it and wait. You can't do that with a conversation. You can't pause somebody. I can be like, hey, Nate, could you give me some information? Tell me something about what's going on in your life. Like, what do you got going on right now? Hey, pause. Right? You can't do that. That's rude, right? So why are we doing that with God? Why are we doing that with God? Now, we have to remember that we're talking to a living God, right? He wants to be in relationship with us. He wants to have conversation with us. He wants to build this relationship with us, but you have to listen. You can't be one-sided. You can't just be throwing stuff at Him all day and you're not listening to what He's got for you. That's not a relationship. And I'll tell you this much, if I got people in my life that are like that, and I have had a couple people in my life that are like that, where they just don't know how to listen, they just know how to talk, man, those people are gone from my life quick, fast, and hurt. Because it's not helpful. It doesn't help me grow. So now, I've dropped you off in guilt city, right? Everybody feels bad. That's not my intention. All right? I'm not trying to do that. There's going to be times where you're going to do that. It's going to be a thing. I'm just trying to make you aware. That's all. I'm trying to make you aware. So let's try and cover the how, right? The how of solitude. So I'm a firm believer in small victories, right? I think that that small victories are very helpful for us to reach bigger victories. So here's how I hope to get a small victory in solitude for us. All right, so here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you have a cell phone, I want you to take it out, and I want you to put it on silent. If your phone's dead, that's fine too. Not vibrate, not
Silence.
vibrate, I want it on silent. Or anything that's distracting to you. It's a game, console, whatever. And I want you to put it on silent. And then I want you to put it in your pocket. Okay? I promise you it won't be very long. It'll just be for a little bit. Put your phone on silent, put it in your pocket. I'm going to do the same because that would be horrible if my phone was off.
Do not disturb.
It just actually went over. Okay, I'm on silent. I'm putting it in my pocket.
I think I found my iPhone.
Okay, now I'm going to have you guys repeat after me a prayer. Now, here's what I have to explain to you. So repeat after me. So I'm going to give you like 2 or 3 words. You repeat them after me, right? So I'm going to say, Heavenly Father, and you're going to say? Heavenly Father. Perfect, okay. After we do this prayer, after I say amen, I need you guys to stay focused. After we say amen, I'm going to leave you guys 3 minutes. 3 minutes of silence, quiet time. Here's what I'm going to ask you. If you do not feel like you can be quiet or silent at the table that you're at, you guys have been doing better. If you don't feel you can do that, I'm going to ask you to step from your table and come over here or maybe to the couch next to Alicia, whatever that is, right? You have 3 minutes, just 3 minutes. That's all I'm asking. For God, not even for me. All right? Here's what I want you looking for in those 3 minutes. I'm looking for you to hear from God, right? He may speak to you. It may be a loud voice. It might be a very quiet voice, right? It may be a word that kind of just comes across your head. Maybe you don't hear it, but you see the word. You may see it like if you close your eyes when you pray and you're sitting there quietly, and your eyes are closed. Sometimes when I close my eyes, I see little visions of things. Like I don't see them clearly, but I might see like a chair float around or something like in my eyeball. I don't know if you guys have that, but sometimes it happens. It's not like a real perfect chair, it just looks like. Anyways. Or you might just rest your head on the table and literally fall asleep. Which I'm not going to be mad about. And what that can be interpreted as is that might be something where if God's telling you you're tired, you need to take a freaking break.
Not for Jesus.
Right? So, and that might be, so the idea behind that is he might be saying to you, all right, this is not the time where I'm going to speak to you, but maybe tonight before you go to bed, you could just go to bed with a prayer in your mind, right? You can say this prayer and say, hey, Lord, can you speak to me in a dream? He did with Joseph, right? No. Yeah,
Yep.
Joseph, right? Yeah. Okay, so that might be what he's telling you. If you sit there, you fall asleep. But I need you guys to be quiet because I don't want you to distract the other person. Now, here's the last thing. It may not work for you right now, and that's okay. You didn't lose, you didn't fail, you're not it's not that. If it doesn't work for you right now, that's fine. But what I'd like you to do is to commit to do this every time you pray. At the very least, commit to doing it tonight before you go to bed. Right? And then just give God 3 minutes. Just give him 3 minutes. And see what he has to share with you. Alright? So here we go. You guys ready to follow? Alright. Repeat after me. Heavenly Father.
Heavenly Father.
Help me, Lord, to find solitude with you. Speak to me. Give me a vision, Lord. Teach me how to be still and how to listen to you. We are grateful for you in our lives. And we ask these things in your Son's name. Amen. God shared anything with you, right, gave you a word, put that picture in your head, you put you to sleep, or did nothing at all, that's what I'd like you guys to share in a small group today. All right, now let me tell you why. This could be helpful to not just you, but your friends. The thing that came to my head, I kept seeing step. And so the first thing that it brought to me was my porch. I have this cute little bench that was my grandma's that Alicia put out front of our room or front of our house, and I don't sit there very often. You can look out, you can see the trees, you see the street, just kind of a nice place to kind of rest. So that's where I'm going to go. That's where I'm going to go for my quiet time. Right? I'm going to take 3 minutes to sit outside and do that. God could be showing you something for someone else, right? So that's why I want you guys to share in a small group. It might be helpful to somebody else. They may have gotten nothing, and so for them to be able to maybe glean off of you, which means like take something from you that you can share and be helpful, make sure you share that. Now, here's my last disclaimer, and we will go into our small groups. Your prayer, if you didn't get anything and you're going to say, your prayer does not have to be exactly like the one I just prayed. I didn't pull that from anywhere. I just thought of it, put it together. If you want it, you come on up. You can take a picture of it on your phones. I'm more than happy to look at my notes. Here's the thing. It doesn't have to be just that, right? You just need to talk to God. Just spend time with Him. If you do that, He's going to be so pleased to hear from you. Let's pray. Father, thank you for this time. Thank you for this discipline of solitude. What a blessing it can be. And I want to be the first one to say, I am horrible at it. I'm horrible at it. I couldn't even do it this morning. I wanted to listen to music the whole time. So I hope that this isn't discouraging to anybody, but more encouraging. That even me up here teaching about this, the day of, I still couldn't do it. So if you can encourage me, Lord, the things that I've been learning from these disciplines have been really helpful. I've been sharing with Dan that these don't come easy to me, so they're hard for me to teach on. This one clicked, and I'm grateful for it. So I pray that as I'm working through it, that the young men and women in this group will also do the same. I encourage them, I pray for them, and ask them to just lean into you, give you that time of solitude. Not a ton of time, but Lord, I can't wait for you to show up in the first 30 seconds of the 3 minutes that they're going to give you. I want you just to blow their minds, Father. And if you're going to wait till the last 30 seconds, I just want them to be able to be patient with you and know that it's your time, not to give up. Because you're not going to give up on us. Lord, thank you for your Son. Thank you for all that you've done for us. We love you. We cherish you. You're an amazing God. We say this in your Son's name. Amen. All right. We will break into small group. There was a pad of paper in front of you, a little post-it note.